Hello, my name is Japheth, and this video is all about how to use SpellerShip. This is for you if you are new to the app or if you want to learn more about how it works. I want to make sure that you're aware of all the options that SpellerShip offers. The board options, the prompt options, the different question types. We're going to go over all of that. So let's jump into it.
The very first thing you're going to do when starting a lesson is choosing a board and prompts. We'll talk about the board for now, and I'll talk about the other options later. The top row are called stencil boards, and this is where I recommend starting. I recommend starting here at the very leftmost board. And that's even if you are an experienced speller, and that's because starting a new method is a whole new thing to learn. And so I recommend keeping the beginning of that as easy of a transition as possible. Then you're going to work your way over to the right. These options below are great for spellers who are transitioning to typing on a keyboard because these are in the standard keyboard layout. It's the same set of letters as the options right above them, but in the keyboard layout. And if your speller has no difficulty getting to the letters, these are smaller letters, then you can feel free to start here. But if you're not sure, I recommend starting right here. So here we are in the lesson. This is about the pyramids of Giza. The first choice you have is whether or not you want to use the app to read the lesson or to keep it muted and read it out loud yourself. I would experiment with both and see what your speller prefers. Then when you're done reading it, you're going to press this button here to jump to the questions. And I would start with the spell questions when you're just starting SpellerShip. Spell ancient, just to get them acquainted with the process. But as soon as they do find that too boring or easy, then it's time to switch to the knowns, the green questions. Which plateau are the pyramids of Giza located on? You'll see that it has two options below, Giza Plateau or High Plateau. That's an option that you can turn off. This is the multiple choice prompt. And so we're going to type in Giza here. So here I've had 5 misspokes, and at this point, it's going to say spell Giza Plateau. This is also an option that you can turn off. This is meant to make it easier. While they're spelling the answer, it's great to coach them verbally. The goal there is you want them to have success, especially early on. If they're having any trouble finding the letter, like here I just hit the S, you might say something like right next door for a T. You might also say on the left, just to get their eyes in the right direction. On the right. You're going to want to fade those prompts out over time as they continue to have success with this. But initially, it's great to give them that help. Other great prompts would be initiation prompts, like, let's get that first letter. And after getting that first letter, you might say something like, and then, something that will encourage them to continue on to the next letter. When you're done with the known questions, you'll see other types of questions below. And you can feel free to go ahead and try those. But I would say that if you're just starting with this app, even if you're an experienced speller, I would recommend just going to the next passage at first.
Try these more challenging questions after you've had some success with the knowns and the spells. After answering some of the questions, if you click on the topic, you'll see a number of statistics here. On the right here, next to each answer, you see 3 colored stars. The colors represent how accurate the speller was. 3 yellow stars here indicates a 70% accuracy. And if you click, you can see the keys that were pressed during that attempt. 3 blue stars represents 90% accuracy or better. The average of these is shown on the left, which in this case is 2 blue stars, which is 80% accuracy. And what you're looking for here is when you start consistently seeing 3 blue stars, then it's time to move up to the next level in terms of the board or the prompts. And we'll talk about the prompts now. There are 2 prompt options. First one is reveal answer after many misspokes. That's what we saw earlier. And you can turn that off to make this more challenging. There's also multiple choice. And the options here are you can show 2 options, 3 options, or 4 options. Those are for the green known questions. And again, this is also going to make it easier. So at some point, you're going to want to turn that off to increase the difficulty for your speller. The other option I want to bring to your attention is this one down here. It says use physical board. And what this means is that you can run the lesson in the app while using a physical board for your speller. A lot of spellers are going to prefer this. So if you can get physical boards, I highly recommend trying this. I'll show you what this looks like. Jumping back into pyramids, this is the screen for when you're using a physical board. You have the paragraph here that you can scroll. This question button here will jump to the question, for which pharaoh was the Great Pyramid built? And you also have the answer button, the A, to show you the answer. Then you'll have your speller answer on a physical board, and when they're done, you can assess their accuracy here. And you can see the same star system that we saw earlier in the statistics. If they did perfectly, you want to press this 90% and then confirm. Again, the purpose of that is just so that you know when it's time to move up to a more challenging difficulty. I highly recommend this mode for anybody. Really, everybody should try this because a lot of spellers are going to prefer this mode and do a lot better with a physical board. Alternatively, you can print out all 26 letters on a sheet of paper, print that out, laminate it, and that could be your physical board. The last tip I'll leave you guys with is to use this create lesson feature. I noticed that my son Indigo, when I started making lessons on the topics that he really cared about, his interest in spelling shot up dramatically. It was night and day. One way you can use this is to just type in whatever topics you know that your speller is already interested in. The other way is if you notice that there's a certain subtopic that maybe your speller was really into, maybe it was the Giza Plateau itself, maybe it was Khufu. Your speller got excited when they were spelling Khufu. Well, you can go ahead and just come up here and type in Khufu and learn more about Khufu and continue that excitement. Now, this is a paid feature. There are a few options for subscriptions. It starts at $5 a month. That will go towards the AI costs and also help me further develop this app. So if that's an option to you, I highly recommend creating custom content for your speller. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please leave a comment below. That'll help boost the visibility of this video so that others can benefit as well. Thanks for watching.